So from the smart city of Antwerp to smart cities across Europe, Geert Mareels will talk to us about Citadel on the move. Questions will follow at the end of the session, of course.
Next slide. How to get to my presentation?
It's a good point.
ICT never works when more than 12 people look at it, so...
yeah.
I recognize this guy. Well, happy to be here also because I'm working for the Flemish government, but we're presenting today Issy-les-Moulineaux, which is a French city near Paris. As cross-border cooperation, this can count for one. What have we done with Citadel on the Move? It was a European finance project running between 2012 and finished last year. And we wanted to make it very easy to turn data into mobile applications. Now, go back when we had the idea, 2010, open data and mobile applications were still very innovative, new, and nobody had them, except if you spent a few €100,000 to a big company that built them for you. So at that moment, Antwerp, as the biggest city of Flanders, Stockholm, London had their apps. The rest of all the smaller ones didn't. And from the beginning, we didn't want to work only for smart cities. In Belgium, or Flanders, there are about 15 municipalities that can call themselves a city, but there are 300 others who are not rich and strong and big enough to make their own applications and e-government services. And the vision from the beginning was, also the people that live there have the right to good e-government applications. So what we made was, we wanted to make, in the project, we made it easy to open data, to convert them into a technical format, JSON, that makes it easy to make a mobile application and to show it on a map, either on your mobile phone or on a website. And by that, create apps that work anytime, anywhere, and across border. And look at the small boy. He comes back in my story. What we did was mainly two things. One, a converter. You would start with your data on an Excel file, CSV, and you put it in the converter, and then we ask you a number of questions which we need. First, try to define the address, or in best case, the geolocation, XY codes, or whatsoever, as good as possible, because we need that to put it on a map. And then you have to define, are we talking about parkings or parking parks, public parks, trees, or phone booths, or whatever. That you get back a JSON file in 10 minutes. And the JSON file you've got then, you can put yourself in an app generator that made an application for you also in less than half an hour. Not very fancy, but you could choose to put your logo on it. You could choose the colors and things like that, and description. If you want to do the very smart and fancy things, go out and spend a few €100,000 to another company. But it was so simple, a civil servant could do it himself. He didn't need ICT experts to help him. And it was, we had in the project itself 4 cities, Ghent in Vlaanderen, Issy-les-Moulineaux in France, Athens, and Manchester. But during the project, a lot of other cities joined the movement. In the end, we had 670 apps created with Citadel tools, 390 data sets published, and when they were published on the hub, anybody could collect them and use them for other applications of their own, because the idea was really to put the open data in the public. And for instance, Issy-les-Moulineaux made an app which was quite nice to see. They inventorized all their trees, all the different kinds of tree. And just to show if you're going for a walk, is this an oak or is this a linde? I don't know all the translations for the trees. That's a quiz question in itself. I once had the idea, but never been built. What you could do, and you can still do it, is make a cycling or walking route for people with hay fever, to go as far away from all the trees that are a hindrance for those people. What they did, and that was my favorite app for in high need, there's one with all the public toilets, male, female, where you could change diapers, and where that was also important, where the citizens themselves could comment, this is a dirty one, this is a closed one, so it was all, at the same time allowing quite a lot of crowdsourcing. Also the Issy app with the trees, they started with what they knew as the trees in their city, but people could say, hey, but there is an oak around the corner you forgot, which is also the whole thing of collecting data by the government using their citizens as the best people who know what's around them, is still a good idea. This is more, we went through different stages. We did check, of course, on the privacy impact, because even in mobile apps, not the data, because it was by default open data, is not privacy sensitive, but the users of a mobile app, and that's nothing new for the experts in this room, leave quite a lot of personal information while using an app. Typical one, as an example, not that it was built by Citadel, but I once looked for, when I was going to speak in Barcelona, what they had as an app, and there is an app there for the red lights districts in the city. Well, if you use that, there's somebody who knows you're very interested in things that you don't want to, your wife to know. Anyway, we had 700 mobile apps now. After the project, it's still being used. And as sharing and reusing, it's free. You don't have to tell us. You don't have to ask anything. You just go to the website, use the app, the converter and the app generator, and you've got one. And it's that simple, because at the end, we had a competition open for the public to say, okay, here are the data, do something nice with Citadel tools. And one of the winners was this guy, who was at that moment 11 years old and his friend 10. And they built an app, and by chance, he was living in a small village in the state of Maine. That's where Boston, well, north of Boston. And his friend had just moved to South Africa, and that was quite amazing. We had a Citadel app working in the United States and South Africa. But it's that easy, so share and reuse it as much as you can. Everybody can do it, and it's the whole philosophy that's more important at this moment at the project. I do think, and that's my last word, we'll be very, very glad if we get an award here, but what I've been saying to the European Commission for a number of years, those who get an award today, or at previous moments there were also awards, take those and don't just use them as a good example, but spread them all over Europe. If Europe has the money to build apps that work all over the country, instead of all of us, each for us on our own, having to build the same thing over and over again. And that was the philosophy behind Citadel. It works somewhere in Greece, but everybody in Europe and the world can use it.
Thank you, Geert.